And it's down the road we go. Happy Tuesday, the second day of February 2021. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Right out of the box, we'll just get this over with. Puxatawny Phil, in fact, spotted his shadow this morning in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania. And if you think that you should have a rodent predict the weather, then that means 6 more weeks of winter on this Groundhog Day. Technically, the spring equinox is on Saturday, March 20th, so it's actually 6 weeks and 4 days as the Earth turns. Puxatawny Phil says 6 more weeks of winter. Thought we'd just get that out of the way right now on this Groundhog's Day. We're in great weather all week long and right into the weekend. Very sunny and mild, and we're looking good. Forecast details are coming up. It's going to be a little windy out in the Columbia Basin. There's a low that's coming through, but it's going to kind of slide by us out of Moses Lake. You're going to get some winds. We'll talk about that, and also some snow in the Cascades. Speaking of traffic, I just checked again, and to my knowledge, Pine Canyon between Orondo and Waterville, or vice versa, depending on which way you're driving, is still closed. A rock slide, a significant rock slide, we're told from the DOT, so you can't get to Waterville on Highway 2. If you need to get to Waterville, you'll have to take Badger Mountain, I suppose. So heads up on that. If they get Pine Canyon cleared of the rocks before this show is over, we will let you know. Everything else that you need and everything else you're used to start your day. Tomorrow, February 3rd, is National Missing Persons Day. And back in the summer of 2016, Jessie Grace Moore went missing right here in Wenatchee. It's been 4.5 years, and she is still missing. And yesterday, we sat down and talked with Brittany Moore, her sister, and Penny Petersen, her mom, and to talk about where we are in the search for Jessie and to talk about missing persons in general. Very important conversation with Brittany and Penny coming up in the back half of the hour. As you can see, we're using our downtown camera because the cross camera is all fogged over. Can't make out anything. No point to show it if you can't see anything, but there we go from the roof of the Cascadian. That is, we have 2 cameras there. One is pointed to the south and one is pointed to the north. Notice the days are getting a little bit longer. Sunrise this morning, 7:25, sunset 5:05. That's 9 hours and 40 minutes of daylight. As point of reference, on the first day of winter, back on December 21st, the sunrise was at 7:46. So we've getting earlier sunrises and later sunsets. We're gaining about 90 seconds of daylight a day, and we will take it. Okay, let's see where Megan wants to go pay a visit with our high-definition Sky-Fi cameras on this Tuesday morning. That looks like it is that Badger? That's Cougar Ridge. Wow, we haven't used that one in a long time. Cougar Ridge is high above the Otobashian Bridge, so we're looking over to the Wenatchee side of the river, to the north part of town. The Cougar Ridge camera, we haven't used that in quite some time. As a matter of fact, as you can see, it's kind of, right now it's cloudy and kind of misty and foggy, but we are going to see some sunshine later on today. Going to be very pleasant indeed. Camera number 3. Let's say hello to, well, I want to say it's Lake Chelan. I got to pick the camera. Bear Mountain? That's the Upper Butte. I should know better than that. You goofball, Dan. Good morning to our friends in Chelan as we look out over beautiful Lake Chelan. Look at that low-hanging cloud right over Wapato Point. Hello, Chelan. From the Upper Butte, we have 2 cameras there. One on the very top of the Upper Butte, almost 4,000 feet in elevation. Then one on the Lower Butte, which is about 500 feet shorter. I believe that's a tower that you can see to the right, far right of your screen. Camera number 4. We are off to see, I want to say, Rude Canyon. Hey, hello, Rude Canyon. How are you today? Nobody's rude up at Rude Canyon. They're very nice people. As a matter of fact, hanging around with the trees and the waving wheat, which can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind. I got to quit singing Rodgers and Hammerstein. Good morning to Rude Canyon. Quite a bit of snow on the ground there. Again, Puxatawny Phil spotted his shadow. 6 more weeks of winter in Pennsylvania. Anyway, let's show you a couple of slides. As I mentioned, it's going to be windy out in the Columbia Basin, not so much here in the Wenatchee Valley. This low pressure system that's going to slide through, it's over the Oregon coast. It's going to work its way to the north and to the east, and it's going to kind of just swing by the Wenatchee Valley. Going to miss us entirely, but as you can see out in the Columbia Basin, if you're traveling to the Spokane area, Moses Lake, Ritzville, you're going to find some gusty winds out there. Very little wind expected here in the Wenatchee Valley today. The lee of the Cascades are going to protect us from the stronger winds. We won't have anything more than maybe 50 miles an hour, and that's a gust, not sustained winds. As far as snow in the Cascades, this is going to be a pretty snowy day today. 3 to 4 inches for this morning into the evening hours on both Stevens and on I-90. We'll give you your past report here in just a little bit, but they are expecting some significant snowfall at the summit of the Cascades today, and then things are going to calm down quite a while for the Cascades. So, from the National Weather Service, look at that. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. I'm liking that. 46 our high today. For the record, we hit 42 on Monday. Yeah, that's above normal. Our normal high is about 38, 37, 38 degrees for this time of the year. So we're going to be well above normal right through this week. Most clouds will be on Thursday. It'll be a tug of war between the clouds and the fog and the sun on Thursday. But for the most part, once this patchy fog burns off, we'll have sunshine today. And again, a high of about 46, 29 for the overnight low tonight. Snow level is going to go all the way down to 800 feet. That's us. But there's no snow in the forecast. There's about a 20% chance of something coming down. Wouldn't bet on it. Sunshine Wednesday, sunshine and clouds on Thursday, few clouds on Thursday night. And then look at that, Friday, sunshine, 48, sunshine, 46 on Saturday. Sunday for the big game, the Super Bowl, which is a registered trademark of the National Football League, all rights reserved. Sunshine and 44 degrees. It's like middle of March weather instead of early February weather. I have no complaints about that. 7 minutes after the hour, let's take you up to the mountain passes. As we mentioned before, they're going to expect some snow today. There's I-90, live shot of Snoqualmie Pass. It's a rain-snow mix going on right now on I-90. It's 33 degrees at the summit. No advisories, no restrictions. Roadway's pretty much bare and wet. You'll notice there's snow on the ground on Stevens, though. Yeah, traction tires are advised. As you can see, it's cloudy, it's foggy, it's snowing with some snow and slush on the roadway. And they're going to get, as you saw by that slide, 4, maybe even 5 inches of snow at Stevens Pass today. So they have a traction tire advisory right now on US 2. No snow really on Blewett. A couple of patches of frost and ice. That's all you have to deal with. No advisories, no restrictions. Blewett's not going to get very little snow, almost no snow at all on Blewett. They're going to be protected. Most of the snow today is going to come down on Snoqualmie Pass, on Stevens Pass, especially Stevens Pass, for maybe even 5 inches of snow on Stevens before this system is over. And then that's it until Thursday night. And they're going to get quite a bit of snow on Thursday night. So if you're traveling into the Cascades today, winter driving conditions will be prevalent. Again, traction tires are advised on Stevens. No advisories, no restrictions on Blewett or Snoqualmie Pass. Pine Canyon, US 2 between Orondo and Waterville is closed because of a rock slide. 8 minutes after the hour, going to take a break and come back, and we'll have your Tuesday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CVCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CVCH respects that.
At Winco, we do everything. Everything. Everything to save you money. Top quality and no membership fees ever. Winco.
Now in Wenatchee at 1340 North Wenatchee Avenue.
We're back at 9 minutes after the hour, starting to see the skies clear out a little bit. We'll have some sunshine for the most part today, with highs in the mid-40s and quite a bit of sunshine all week long and right into the weekend. Here are your headlines. The body of an unidentified person was found inside a Twisp home that was completely destroyed by fire. This happened on Saturday night. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Okanagan County Fire District number 6 responded to the structure fire. This happened at about 9:30 in the evening. The home was fully engulfed when firefighters arrived. Firefighters able to stop the fire from spreading to the garage, but the home was a total loss. The fire and the death are being investigated by the Twisp Police Department with additional help from a fire investigator from the Okanagan County Sheriff's Office. Speaking of fires, a fire late Saturday night caused extensive damage to the Moses Lake Liquor Store on North Stratford Road. Moses Lake firefighters arrived at the store at about 11 in the evening to find smoke billowing from the structure, flames shooting out the rear of the building. Firefighters were quickly able to contain and extinguish the fire, but not before the fire had done extensive damage to the structure. No injuries. Crews spent more than 4 hours at the scene. The cause of that fire remains under investigation. And yet another fire to talk about this morning. Video from Moses Lake firefighters show crews responding to a motorhome fire on East Broadway Avenue. This happened yesterday morning. The fire was quickly suppressed, was stopped from spreading to adjacent buildings.
Moses Lake Fire Department, third alarm, Delta vehicle fire, 3720 East Broadway Avenue, Moses Lake, 0733.
Dramatic footage there. Luckily, no injuries. The cause of that fire also under investigation. The city of Wenatchee acquired a portion of the former federal building in 2017, and since then is trying to figure out how to remodel the exterior and the interior office space. Now, they had $8 million to work with, but bids came in at more than $11 million. Well, the financial picture is rosier now, and Mayor Frank Kuntz wants to move forward with the renovation. Some city council members say, however, the timing is not right.
And so in the last 6 months, quite a few things have sort of changed. Our budget got a little bit better. We did sell a water right to Lineage for $1 million that will close in the next week or so. So as we looked at our financial situation and we looked at sort of what the bidding climate would be, I think the consensus from those that were on the call, which was all of your executive staff and myself, was we should go to bid again. It's time to go out and see what the bidding climate looks like.
Last year, when we received the bids, we were not sure what our finances were going to look like for 2020. We figured the general fund was going to lose $1.5 million, and there would be no way that the overages in the bid estimates that we wouldn't be able to swing that. And I don't think anybody anticipated the fact that our financial year would actually pan out fairly well. We had a couple, as the mayor said, we've got another $1 million from regional water that should be coming in for the water rights. We did receive some CARES funds that helped shore up some of our deficits that we had. Our sales tax back in beginning of summer, we expected our sales tax numbers to be down $1.5 million and would basically put our general fund at $1.5 million loss last year. However, as of our last sales tax report, we're basically right on track with what we received in 2019. So 2020, once we get the last couple months, I imagine we'll at least have received what we got in 2019.
I disagree. I don't think this is the right time. We may be camping out, but we're doing a whole lot better camping out than a lot of our businesses in town are doing. I think this is totally the wrong message that we're going to go build a nice city hall while you guys scrape to get by. I am totally opposed to going out to bid.
I don't know that it's ever going to get better or it's any going to get more expensive or get less expensive. So the issue then gets to, then we just don't do it at all and we go spend $9 million on a road project because we got to go spend the money. Or you do the commitment that you made, 3 or 4 years ago when we went down this path, and you say, we're just going to stick with that commitment. It's going to work long-term. It's what we told the people we were doing when we went to the bond market, and you execute that the best you can. And I think this is as good as time as any. It's not going to get cheaper.
East Wenatchee police say a couple of suspects made it as far as Ritzville in a stolen pickup truck before the truck broke down. 19-year-old Alexis McElhaney is charged with first-degree theft and possession of a stolen vehicle. 21-year-old Cole Skylar Rapp of Spokane faces charges of vehicle prowling and stolen property possession. The truck was stolen from an East Wenatchee residence back in October. It was found disabled on Highway 90 near Ritzville. State troopers picked up both Rapp and McElhaney nearby. Rapp is charged in several vehicle prowls in the East Wenatchee area, and he and McElhaney are believed to have traveled together in the stolen truck. Speaking of East Wenatchee Police, East Wenatchee's new assistant police chief sworn in on Monday, completing a turnover of the top officials in the East Wenatchee Police Department. Eric Hampton is his name. He comes to East Wenatchee after 22 years with the Yakima Police Department. Most recently, he was the sergeant of the Gang Crime Investigation Unit. Hampton replaces Ray Coble, who resigned back in July. Police Chief Rick Johnson was hired by the city in June, replacing retiring Chief Randy Harrison. And finally, Wenatchee's newest grocery store opened yesterday morning at Valley North Shopping Center. A lot of people at Winco yesterday. Winco is an employee-owned warehouse-type grocery store. The Wenatchee store's almost 90,000 square feet. The company says they have spent about $6 million converting the former Shopco building. The new grocery store will be open 24 hours a day beginning today. A new store also opened in Bend, Oregon yesterday. Winco says they're going to open 2 more stores in the near future in Montana. Those are your headlines at 16 minutes after the hour on this Groundhog's Day. Grant and Eric will have the news and sports respectively tonight at 5, 6, and 10 with a preview. Here's Grant.
Good morning and happy Groundhog Day, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, here we are in the teeth of winter and our weather is going to feel more like spring. Who needs a groundhog? I'll have all the details in your North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will also be here with a look at sports. That and all the day's news stories coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate your efforts, too. If you have a news tip or you want to drop us a note and say hi, we'd love to hear from you, our viewers. Look at the bottom of your screen. Facebook is a great way to get hold of us via our Facebook page. Just use the Messenger app. You can also email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or you can use our website. There's a contact icon at the top of our homepage. When we come back, it's hard to stay perfect. And for the Louisville Lady Cardinals and Haley Van Lith, they finally lost a basketball game last night. We'll have sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, some celebrity birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike Minardi's opinion. And we're going to talk about National Missing Persons Day, which is actually tomorrow, but we're going to air the interview today, so you will not forget. Jesse, it's coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Levies are for learning and provide important local funding to support Wenatchee schools. Levies help fill the gap between what the state funds as basic education and the cost of all the programs, services, and essential staff Wenatchee School District provides our students. The state provides funding for most teachers, but levy dollars increase the number of staff in critical roles, like nurses, counselors, technology support staff, teaching assistants, and custodians. For example, the state funds just 1 nurse for our entire school district. Levy funding provides for an additional 6 nurses to support our students. These staff positions have continued to be critical in supporting the education, health, and well-being of our students and families during the pandemic. Levies also provide the essential funding to go beyond basic education and provide specialists and elective classes, technology, including laptops for students, and enrichment programs like AVID and HiCap. Extracurricular programs in our district, such as art, drama, music, and sports, are all thanks to the local levy. Our current levy expires in 2021. If approved, the 4-year renewal levy will continue the current levy rate that was previously approved by voters. It is not a new tax. This levy is a continuation of our community's commitment to our schools and investment in our children. The election is February 9th. Please remember to vote.
Just about 20 minutes after the hour in sports, Haley Van Lith's Louisville Cardinals lost for the first time this season last night. In fact, they got beat pretty good. The Wolfpack from North Carolina State beat them 74-60. Alyssa Cunane made her return to the court for the first time since early January after recovering from COVID-19. She led the Wolfpack, 16 points, 6 rebounds. Dana Evans went off for a game-high 29 points for Louisville, but the rest of the offense just wasn't happening. Coach Jeff Walls says the ladies were not ready last night.
we had some good looks, especially there in the first half, that we just didn't make. But then we didn't do a great job of following the scout report, which I'll take responsibility for that, because I've got to make sure that they're dialed in and prepared. A few of their players did exactly what we knew they were going to do, and we just weren't. I don't know if we weren't prepared for it, if we didn't know it was coming or what, but we didn't do a very good job defensively in a few situations.
How did Haley do? Well, she had 6 points and 4 rebounds. So the rankings, which came out earlier on Monday, still has Louisville number 1, and maybe they will be next week. We don't know. The Cardinals will play at Boston College Thursday at 5 o'clock. Number 19, Gonzaga, is going to host BYU in a battle for first place in the West Coast Conference tonight. Now, the Cougars have managed to play just 4 games in January because of COVID postponements. Tip time tonight between BYU and Gonzaga. 6 o'clock. The rest of the Washington women's teams are off until Friday. That's when number 5, UCLA, will visit Washington State at noon, and Washington will host USC at 7 o'clock. And then on Sunday, USC heads for the Palouse at noon, and Washington will take on the Bruins at 2 o'clock. Gonzaga is still the number 1 ranked team in the men's college basketball poll, according to the Associated Press. They were supposed to host Loyola Marymount Thursday at 6 o'clock in Spokane. That game has been postponed because of COVID protocols in the LM program. So now Gonzaga has 2 holes in his schedule because their game against Santa Clara is slated for Saturday, also postponed because of COVID in Santa Clara's program. Bulldog coach Mark Few says he's willing to add a quality non-conference matchup if he can find one. In addition, Thursday's schedule has Washington traveling to Oregon State at 6 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network, Washington State at Oregon at 8 o'clock on FS1. Then the Huskies and the Ducks have a national television audience Saturday. Oregon will host Washington at 1 o'clock on CBS, and the Cougars will play at Oregon State Saturday at 3 o'clock. Yesterday, decision day for local athletic directors on moving forward with a prep sports schedule in the North Central Washington area. Eastmont Athletic Director Russ Waterman says football will start practice February 16th. Volleyball and soccer, they will start practice on February 22nd. Now, in order for games to take place as scheduled now, our region would have to bump up to Phase 2, and right now games are scheduled to begin February 27th for soccer and volleyball and March 4th. Waterman says if our region does not make the metrics on February 12th, things will have to shift back a week. However, cross country and swim and dive, they are approved for competitions for Phase 1. The only changes so far, according to Waterman, will be a change of location for scheduled home soccer matches for Eastmont. He says the field conditions at Wildcat Stadium are such that the games will have to be played at Leibhoff Field at the Apple Bowl, which has field turf instead of in East Wenatchee. Major League Baseball players have rejected the proposal by the league to postpone the start of spring training and the season. That means that pitchers and catchers report in a couple of weeks. The regular season will start on time, we're told. Opening day on April 1st. On Friday, MLB proposed a 154-game schedule with players reporting to training camp in late March. Now, according to ESPN's Jeff Passage, the union leaders balked at language in the proposal that would give Commissioner Rob Manfred more powers to cancel games in the event of a COVID-19 outbreak. Finally, former Seahawk offensive lineman Chad Wheeler pled not guilty to criminal charges related to a domestic violence incident 2 weeks ago. Wheeler has been charged with first-degree domestic violence assault, domestic violence unlawful imprisonment, and resisting arrest. Now, in the state of Washington, first-degree domestic assault is a Class A felony. Domestic violence unlawful imprisonment is a Class C felony. If convicted, Wheeler could be sent to prison for 8 to 12 years. He is accused of choking his girlfriend twice until she became unconscious. Police reports say that when they forced entry into the apartment that they shared in Kent, they found the woman crying in pain, her face covered in blood, and her left arm swollen and limp against her body. Scans revealed she suffered a fractured humerus and a dislocated elbow. She appeared in court Monday with her left arm in a sling. A criminal advocate supervisor with the King County Prosecutor's Office wrote a statement on her behalf in which she said she does not feel safe as long as Wheeler is not in custody. The judge kept the bail at $400,000. Wheeler is to remain in Washington on home detention. Trial scheduled for April 6th. And that's sports. At 25 minutes after the hour, It's time for the obscure holiday. I had 3 to choose from. Today is National Tater Tot Day. I only have tater tots when I eat Sloppy Joes. Sloppy Joes and tater tots, they seem to go together. Today is Safer Internet Day. Okay, but of course, and it's supposed to be the obscure holiday, but you can't ignore Groundhog Day. Puxatawny Phil, if you're just joining me, he saw his shadow. He saw his shadow in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania, and Puxatawny, and we're supposed to have 6 more weeks of winter. This was originally a religious holiday. It was called Candlemas Day on February 2nd. It was a Christian celebration to celebrate, to observe anyway, Jesus' first appearance in the temple and the purification of Mary, Jesus' mother. And they believed on Candlemas Day that if it was sunny, winter would last for 6 more weeks, and if it was overcast, winter would end early. Somehow or another, groundhogs got involved. What happened? Germans began to watch hedgehogs. And when the Germans immigrated here to the United States, and many Germans ended up in Pennsylvania, well, there are no hedgehogs in Pennsylvania, but there's lots of groundhogs. And so instead of just observing Hedgehog Day on February 2nd, it became Groundhog Day, and it has been for 140 some odd years. Groundhogs are mammals. They're members of the squirrel family, and they hibernate during the winter. Their body temperature goes down to like 35 degrees. Their heart beats about once every 8 seconds, and they just sleep winter away until somebody in a big hat and tails drags Phil out of his lair and happy Groundhog Day. It's funny how these things happen. 27 minutes after the hour. That is the flag of what? I'll let you think about it. That is the flag of New York City. And on February 2nd, 1653, 368 years ago today, New Amsterdam, which would later become New York City, is incorporated. And yes, I have some fun facts about New York. About 37% of residents of New York were born in another country, and that means there's about 800 different languages spoken by the residents of New York City. That's a remarkable thing. The very first American pizza joint, the very first pizza restaurant ever in this country, opened in New York City by Italian immigrants in 1904. Thank you very much. There are about 1,600 places to grab a piece of pizza in New York City today. 40% of the entire population of the state of New York lives in New York City, about 8.3 million people. New York is home to the highest number of billionaires in any city in the world. What's the old line? New York is a great place to live if you got a lot of money. New York City, just in the city, has over 120 colleges and universities, so you don't have to go very far to get a pretty good education in New York City. And if the boroughs of New York City were independent cities instead of part of New York City as a whole, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, and Manhattan, all of them would be among the 10 largest cities in the country just by themselves. Altogether, New York is one big place. Happy birthday, New York, 368 years old today. Happy birthday to the National League, the very first organized sports league anywhere. The National League of Professional Baseball Clubs of Major League Baseball is founded on this date in New York City, February 2nd, 1876. They needed some sort of bylaws and constitution and somebody to set the schedules and the teams and the rules and the regulations. They didn't have any of that. So all the teams got together and said, why don't we have a formal structure? And this is the birth of really sports leagues in general. There wasn't any organized sports leagues until the National League got their act together 145 years ago today. Of course, it's Super Bowl time. This is a good Super Bowl. February 2nd, 2014, 7 years ago today, the Seahawks beat the Broncos 43-8 to win Super Bowl XLV III, Super Bowl 48 in MetLife Stadium in New Rutherford, New Jersey. The Seahawks' 35-point victory was the largest margin of victory for any team that was the underdog. The Seahawks are 3.5-point underdogs to the Broncos going into the game. This, of course, was the very first outdoor Super Bowl held in a cold weather city, although it was almost 50 degrees at kickoff. The game was a blowout early on. In fact, the halftime show featuring Bruno Mars had higher ratings than the game itself. This was also the very first outdoor Super Bowl to be played on artificial turf since Super Bowl X. And this was the first time, believe it or not, this was the first time that any score in the history of the NFL finished with a score of 43-8. It had never happened before. Seahawks win the Super Bowl 7 years ago today. And this is the one-year anniversary of last year's Super Bowl. Super Bowl LIV 54 at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl, beat the Niners 31-20. Attendance at last year's Super Bowl, 62,417. The smallest attendance of any Super Bowl since Super Bowl I. They had remodeled Hard Rock Stadium when they took out about 15,000 seats. That's why. And with this win, Kansas City became the first NFL team to come back from a 10-point or more deficit in the playoffs 3 different times. We'll see if they can win 2 in a row on Sunday. And birthdays, speaking of the National Football League, one of the men who founded the National Football League, the Papa Bear himself, George Halas, born in the state in 1895, lived a very long and fruitful life, died at the age of 88. In 1983, helped co-found the NFL 101 years ago in 1920. He owned the Chicago Bears for 63 years. His family still owns the Chicago Bears. He coached the Bears for 40 years. When you own the team, you can coach the team, I suppose. George Halas, born in the state in 1895. Melvina Dean. Think about this for just a little bit. You're going to go, why does that name sound familiar? Melvina Dean was born in the state in 1912. She died 11 years ago in her 90s. Any guesses? Melvina Dean was the last survivor of the sinking of the Titanic. She was only 2 months old when the ship went down. She was the youngest passenger on board the Titanic, and she was the last survivor of the sinking of the Titanic. Became a bit of a celebrity. She was born in the state in 1912, and she and her family got on the boat. 32 minutes after the hour, quick break. Mike McNaughty's got an opinion coming your way, and in June of 2016, Jessie Grace Moore went missing right here in Wenatchee. She is still missing. You're going to hear from Brittany Moore and Penny Petersen about that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Come on, I'm a certified technician. I was trained to take good care of you.
9. I've only been to the dealer.
I've been coming here for years. These guys are great.
Look around. The BMW, the Jag, the Volvo, they're all waiting for regular service. Well, the BMW has a little computer issue, but that's nothing we can't handle. Come on in.
From regular maintenance to computer troubleshooting, trust the Global Car Care technicians with your import, diesel-powered, or domestic vehicle. Global Car Care. They speak your car's language.
Dankeschön. Are you ready to freshen up your home? Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom is filled with high-quality furniture that's always discounted to give you their best price every day. Boswell's is receiving new furniture deliveries each week, so you'll be sure to find just what you need for your home without the wait. Complimentary design assistance and free local delivery. Superior customer service and the best value for your money. Start at Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snowblowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, serving North Central Washington, is proud to offer the finest heating and cooling air quality products along with prompt and professional customer service since 1984. Regardless of the temperature outside, Arctic is here for you. Arctic offers a variety of services: residential and commercial heating, air conditioning, commercial refrigeration, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
What is it about Tipsy Canyon Winery that keeps people coming back? Is it the magnificent view from the hillside tasting room? Is it the exceptional but affordable wines? Or is it just the fact that you feel right at home from the minute you walk through the door? Actually, it's all this and more. Experience the Tipsy Canyon Winery located just outside of Manson. Your new home away from home.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. You know, I like my house a lot. It's a modest home. It's in a working class neighborhood. It was built probably more than 100 years ago. And I like to think about the people who built it, what the construction was like, the different craftsmen that we just no longer have today. And I think about the people who used to live in that house, what their lives were like and what they went through, you know? And I realized in another 15, 20 years, somebody else is going to be living here. So I own the house, you know, but in reality, me and you, we're just renting here, aren't we? This is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Highlander Golf Course is proud to announce their 2 new state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulators with over 80 courses of virtual golf to choose from year-round. Or try their Laser Shot simulated firearm program, or gaming with football, basketball, and much more. Enjoy Highlander food and drink service from their full-service bar and grill in the comfort of their simulator room. Call the Highlander Pro Shop to book your time at 884-4653. That's 884-4653.
Winter is a great time to trade in your current hot tub. Turn your old hot tub into money with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa's trade-in program. You can save $500 to $1,000 off of any new artesian spa or take advantage of a free Bluetooth music experience. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa recommends draining your hot tub every 3 months. Ask us about our drain and refill special. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa today.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 3rd, is National Missing Persons Day, and we could just toss this off as just another day, but for a lot of people whose loved ones have gone missing, for reasons unknown, really, for the most part, we have 2 very special guests to talk about that because they have a personal story to tell. Penny is going to join us here in just a couple of minutes, but first, we want to introduce Brittany Moore to our television family. Thanks for coming down and visiting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we get into the specific reason why you're here, just a little bit about you, Brittany, to introduce yourself to our television family.
Yeah, so I'm 26 years old. I've lived in Wenatchee my entire life. And in the last 2 years, I've been doing YouTube videos to talk about my sister's disappearance as well as other missing people, and usually people from Washington State, and just help get their stories out there and spread awareness. So yeah.
Well, let's get right to it. Take me back 2 years, because it's been a couple of years.
Yes.
The story that you need to tell, in case it was significant news here for a while, and like a lot of these things, it kind of just falls by the wayside. Give me the story, please.
Yeah, so on June 20th of 2016, my sister, Jessie Grace Moore, was no longer in contact with my family, and it all came out that she went missing, and a video was taken of her the day she went missing at Centennial Park. And we filmed this video after we realized she was missing, but in the video, her head is shaved, And that was a complete shock to my family and I, and we, to this day, have no idea who did that, if she did that. And in the video, she's clearly under mental stress, and, you know, she's being made fun of in the video, belittled. It was really, you know, heartbreaking to watch, and it's heartbreaking that that is the last memory we have of her. But it is a great identifier. So at that time, her head was shaved. Possibly some lettering was shaved into her head, or 13 lines as well. So yeah, I felt like her case wasn't getting the attention it deserved. She did battle with mental health issues as well as drug abuse. And I feel like stories like hers can fall by the wayside and not get the coverage that they need. So I had reached out to so many people to cover her case, so many, you know, YouTubers, podcasters, and I wasn't getting the response that she deserves to get her case covered. So we kind of took it into our own hands, and, you know, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers where we're able to share her story and get it out there and break it down, the theories and all of the information and who she was as a person, because that's so important, you know, because you can just see a picture of someone and say, people don't realize who she was as a person. She was a beautiful person who was going to offer so much to this world, and someone thought they had the right to take her from us, and they're 100% we think foul play is involved in her disappearance. That's important to know. We don't think she just up and left. She had 2 sons that she cared about deeply, and even though she was going through a lot at that time, she cared about us, and she wouldn't just up and leave her family, and she was in constant contact with my family all the time. So the fact that we heard nothing from her, it's a huge indicator that something happened to her.
Is the fact that her physical appearance so radically changed in a very short period of time, is that making it more difficult for people who might say, hey, I think I saw her, because you don't really know what she looks like now? I mean, did she grow her hair back? All that stuff. Is that an impediment to possibly finding her?
Yes. Yeah, you know, but we have had a lot of tips that people saw a girl with a head shaved. It's a very distinguishing characteristic, and it wasn't like a nice cut. It was like a butchered cut, so that kind of could have led us to information. But with all this time passed, I mean, it's almost 5 years. Her hair, if she is still out there, very well could have grown back. So yeah.
Where's law enforcement on all this? I know that they're out there.
Yeah.
They're not. This isn't just sitting in a file folder in a cabinet somewhere.
No. Yeah, her case is still open to this day. It's being actively investigated by Steve Evett, and he has helped us tremendously. He looks into everything we send to him, any possible tips, any possible sightings. He will look into it, and he meets with us regularly to communicate, and it makes us feel so reassured that something is being done, steps are being taken to look for Jessie, and it doesn't matter what tips come in. If it's a dead end, he's going to look into it, and he's going to do what he can, and he cares about finding justice for Jessie and finding out what happened to her.
So 4.5 years ago, how old is Jessie now? Can you give it? We showed some pictures, but of course those pictures that we just showed are not recent.
Yes.
How old would she be now? Can you give us a general description so people can plant that in their head, please?
Yeah, of course. So she was 23 years old when she went missing. She would be 28 now, turning 29 August 28th. She has hazel eyes, brown hair. It could be short, it could be long. We're not too sure on that. She has a darker complexion. She's pretty tan, between 5'2" and 5'3", and she was about 160 pounds when she went missing.
And you're convinced that she didn't go missing on her own volition. This is something that she's against her will, you think?
1,000%,
Okay.
100%. All the information we've got, you know, it pretty much leads to something happened to her. Someone did something to her.
How's the family holding up in all this? Because you said she very rarely did anything that would indicate that, you know, she was in touch with you guys all the time, and then all of a sudden one day she's just not, and she's gone. So emotionally, over the last 4.5 years, is it just good days and bad days? Are there days where you simply have given up hope? I mean, help me out here.
Yeah, you know, I think I can only speak from my own experience. I know it's been horrible for everyone. I mean, there's no healing steps when a loved one goes missing. I mean, you have that more when someone, dies in your family, but it's been so hard, and we've all tried to find healing in our own way. And I think we're shifting now into letting Jessie's story be heard beyond her case, beyond her disappearance, and using what we've learned from her disappearance to help other people. And I think that is where I personally have found the most healing, is to make people who have a missing loved one feel more understood, feel more heard, because it is such an isolating experience to go through that no one should ever have to go through, and not have closure in that way or wonder what's happening to their loved one. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
You have hope.
We have hope.
You have hope.
We have hope.
That's
yes.
what I'm getting from this. Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. Penny Petersen is going to join us here in just a few minutes to talk about National Missing Persons Day on a bigger scale. But before I catch you loose, Brittany, what do people do if they think they have seen her, or what next? They go, I think I may have an idea, or who do they get a hold of? All that stuff.
Yeah, of course. So you can always call Wenatchee PD, but for a direct line to the detective working her case, Steve Evett, the one I mentioned earlier, his phone number is 509-423-9895.
Well, Officer Steve is one of the best, so he's not. If I know him and I know him, he's not going to let go of this at all.
Yes. Yeah.
So my guess is he thinks about it every day.
Yeah, and we appreciate him so much, and he's awesome.
Keep an eye out, folks, okay? Please keep an eye out. When we come back, Penny Petersen is going to talk about National Missing Persons Day on Wednesday, February 3rd. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Take on the new year in a new Ford from Pat Armstrong Ford. From premium grade muscle to unparalleled performance. Take on any payload. The all-new 2021 Ford F-150 at Pat Armstrong Ford. Take on any adventure. Take on every thrill. The all-new 2021 Bronco Sport and 2021 Mustang Mach-E. Built to take on every resolution at Pat Armstrong Ford. We are community strong in East Wenatchee.
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers one-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive, no nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated, Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu, because we work to get you to work.
And we are back on Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley for this Tuesday morning. Once again, Wednesday, tomorrow is National Missing Persons Day. People disappear. They just disappear. Sometimes of their own volition, as we just heard from Brittany. Sometimes, most of the time, probably not. There's some foul play going on, or at least some bad cahootinizing going on. Here to talk about it in a larger sense is Penny Petersen, our old friend, who I got a chance to meet and get to know Penny at the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And you're first of all, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're involved in this in what way? How do you connect the dots here?
Well, when Jessie, my granddaughter, came up missing, that was an eye-opener. And you really don't think about that. You don't think about it in your day-to-day activity until it happens to you, and then you start doing some research and start looking into things. And you're like, oh my goodness, there are so many missing people. You know, it's just devastating, really. And unless you've had that happen to you, you just have no comprehension as to how these people feel, how the family that's left behind feel and what they're going through. So it's nice that they have this going out. It's a National Missing Persons Day. So
you told me off camera, there are over, in this state alone, there are over 700 people who have simply disappeared.
yes, actually it's like 700 and
I find that an alarming number.
729 people in Washington State. Yes.
Are just disappeared.
Disappeared. So I did some running of numbers. There's like 7,170,000 residents in Washington State. So if you take and divide this all up, almost every 10,000 people, there's one person that comes up missing out of Washington State. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just need to get some more awareness out there. And so this, the National Missing Persons Day is a great way of doing that. And interesting, because the reason why that got started, I'd kind of like to read a little bit.
Oh, please do.
Started by Joanne Lowitzer. She founded this day because her daughter Alexandria went missing in 2010. So, and they still have not found her. So, and then she realized that there isn't much out there for help of people. So really the idea of it is to share as much as we possibly can. In our community, which we have a wonderful community. I mean, everybody, once they know something, they want to help. And the best way they can help is to share pictures, the stories, and in that ways, you know, we've had posters up, and Brittany does the podcast, and all of those things. If we can share those things and keep Jesse's case going, and so with all the other missing people. So hopefully, you know, we get more awareness every year.
What gives, in the case of Jessie specifically, Penny, what gives you hope when you get up each day that this may be the day, or we're going to get a little bit closer to getting some answers?
We know, Dan, it's really difficult. I mean, and you know, Brittany kind of mentioned we're all dealing with it individually ourselves. And I think about Jessie daily, but most of the days, because life goes on and you have to make a living, you have to pay the bills, you have other family. But every once in a while something will happen, a picture will come up of Jessie, and it'll have a tendency to spiral me a little bit. And I allow myself enough time to just be sad and to think deep about her, and because I love her. But we do have hope. Detective Evett is on it. I mean, I can't say enough about him. And he meets with us regularly. And even if there's really no news, no nothing. But he feels like it's important to keep us in the loop. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. We still have hope for Jessie. We do not believe that she is alive. But it would really be nice to find her body so that we could give her a proper burial.
Closure is important, one way or the other. The thing is, you just don't know, and that's got to be the hardest part of all.
It is very difficult, and you know, you really don't think about all of this until it happens to you, and then it's shocking once you start looking into numbers and hear the stories of everybody else, and it's just sad. And I just, you know, I need to do something. I feel better about doing something rather than nothing, and helping people, you know, to deal with this. And they have a couple of different areas that you can go: National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I mean, those are just two of them. So there's a lot of activity out there, a lot of other organizations trying to help.
Well, both you and Brittany have some inner strength that I don't think I have, so I have to give you kudos to that. How can we help? The viewers of this show, the people of North Central Washington, the people of the Wenatchee Valley, how can we help find your daughter?
This is it. This is it. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you having us come on here and talk about this. This is helpful. And, you know, and it may not help us find Jessie, but it helps us as her family to feel good that we're doing something. And I think that's so important for everybody of a missing person. They need to feel like they're doing something. So appreciate that. And certainly if anything, you even think something, please call the police station, call Detective Evett. He would love to hear from you. And he listens and he investigates everything he gets.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Yes.
He's really good. Thank you for coming down and doing this, and hopefully we've raised awareness on this day about the plight that you are going through. I have some photos that Brittany sent me, so if you think, hey, I wouldn't mind having a couple of copies just to carry in my wallet or whatever, and just in case I'm out and about and I see something or I think this might be Jessie, get a hold of me and I'll make sure you get copies of those. So I wish we could have visited on nicer terms, Penny, but
yes.
But again, thanks to you and Brittany for keeping the awareness up. And as long as Steve and you and Brittany don't give up, we won't either. Fair enough?
That's fair enough.
Fair
Thank you.
enough. Penny Petersen, National Missing Persons Day is on Wednesday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
And we are back on this Groundhog's Day edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. In case you didn't get the news yet, Puxatawny Phil did, in fact, spot his shadow this morning in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania. So if you believe in having a giant rodent, do your weather forecasting. We're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. For the record, we will have 6 weeks and 4 days of winter until the spring equinox on March 20th. Got that out of the way. Little heads up for you folks out in the Columbia Basin. Going to be a little windy today out there in Moses Lake and Ritzville land, and maybe even up on the Highway 12 or Highway 2 corridor to the north of us. This low that's coming through is really going to miss us altogether. We're not going to have really very little wind at all here in the Wenatchee Valley, but watch out for some pretty strong gusty winds out in the Columbia Basin. Just wanted to let you know about that. We are going to have sunshine today. I like the fact, look, this forecast is incredible. Really crazy stuff. The fog is already starting to burn off. We're going to see some sunshine if it hasn't already begun to happen. We'll top off at about 46 degrees. We hit 42 on Monday. And again, very little wind in the valley, windier out to the east of us. Slight chance of some light rain tonight. I don't think it's going to happen. 29 for the overnight low. Sunshine Wednesday, 43, partly sunny, partly cloudy, depending on whether you're an optimist or a pessimist on Thursday, with a high of 44. 48 with sunshine Friday. Look at this. Saturday, Sunday, we're going to have a little bit of a high pressure ridge buildup on Thursday afternoon. It's going to give us quite a bit of sunshine right into the weekend, including Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl is registered trademark of the National Football League. All rights reserved. There you go. I just checked on the Washington State Department of Transportation, and Pine Canyon is still closed. Apparently, it's a pretty sizable rock slide. Pine Canyon between Orondo and Waterville is still closed on milepost 144. I want to give you a heads up on that. All right, live shot of I-90 right now. No problems. It is a rain-snow mix still. Has been for about an hour and a half. No advisories, no restrictions. Roadways bare and wet. Stevens has got some snow. Traction tires are advised on US 2 Stevens Pass with some snow and slush on the roadway. It is snowing there. And they're expected about 4 inches of snow on Stevens Pass over the course of the day today. And on Blewett, you're fine. No advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet with ice in places. Blewett is not expecting any snow today. So Quality Pass is going to get a couple of inches of snow, maybe 3. Most of the snow will be relegated to Stevens Pass. Stevens Pass could have 4, maybe even 5 inches of snow on the ground before it is over. So Stevens, you might want to avoid. And again, Pine Canyon, US 2 between Orondo and Waterville still closed. We'll let you know when that gets reopened. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.